All right. Hey, hey. Welcome back, Taurians. Okay, let's jump on in and say what's coming back around to reconsider with older, wiser eyes. And I say that because we've got a retrograde going on that started on the 17th. So it runs until I think August the 10th. So kind of like a great chunk of time to maybe reconsider things that come back. Mercury, it's never going in the reverse. It just laps us because it moves faster. So it appears like it goes in the reverse, but not really. Not any more than like a clock that passes 12 is ever going in the reverse, right? It's just we're right at that point again where something could pop back up and Taurus could reconsider something. And what's interesting is Taurus might reconsider, what does my higher self want? This is Taurus, right? We got the Hierophant at the first card out. So Taurus gets to think about Taurus. That's maybe the thing that retrograde is bringing up for Taurus. Am I listening to my higher self? 7 of Cups, 4 of Cups. Kind of feels like Taurus is acknowledging that maybe they were a little bit confused about what route they wanted to take. And they may be feeling like they're a little bit bummed out because they didn't take the route that they wish they had. In life, most things aren't too late. If Taurus still wants something, maybe it's only just now that Taurus is ready to go after something. Let's see. We have the High Priestess, King of Wands, the Hermit. In this case, it may be that Taurus still wants to work with or deal with a King of Wands, but maybe there's been a whole lot of silence. And there's like this deep intuition. See, I kind of think that Taurus might be thinking about this King of Wands at the same time, though, because of that High Priestess, that intuitive, like, as I sit and I think about things, I am disappointed about the way something went. I am disappointed that either I didn't take the right action, or maybe I'm picking up on they didn't pick the right action on something. I'm kind of starting to lean towards saying Taurus might be aware of someone else's disappointment. But again, Taurus may share that disappointment, but it feels like with the intuition, someone that Taurus is not in communication with, possibly a Virgo or a Leo, Sag, or Aries, somebody who they love Taurus or certainly have warm feelings toward Taurus, but there's this silence. Because we actually have this little dude in green down here in this deck, he shows up again later on a 6 of Cups card. So he's like, there's an element of a soulmate here, even on this Hermit, because they put that same image. I don't know if that card's going to come out as we keep shuffling, but I will just say my justification for thinking that I can say a King of Wands, even in the silence, is thinking about the same things that Taurus is. It's a damn shame. It's a damn shame that, we didn't know what to do and then nothing happened. And it's a damn shame that that's how this went down. 8 of Pentacles in the reverse. Nobody put in effort. I definitely feel like this King of Wands is, in silence, and they're wondering, should I put in more effort? Why didn't I? Maybe this is one of those where nobody reached out to each other and now something's been lost. And it's like, why did I let that go? Why didn't I try? Page of Wands in the reverse. I'm almost wondering if both people talked themselves out of trying. I mean, we could have had this, maybe this King of Wands talked himself out of thinking that Taurus wanted to hear from him. I didn't put in effort because I really didn't think Taurus wanted me to. And now they're thinking about Taurus the same way Taurus is thinking about them, which is with a disappointment. Sorry to slurp coffee at you all as well. Sorry, guys. But it's Sunday, and it's kind of one of those slow-moving Sundays where I love coffee, but I try to only drink 1 cup a day. But it's Sunday, so I'm having 2. It's so yummy, and I'm all blissed out right now having coffee with Taurus. We got the 9 of Wands. 9 of Wands is, look, this is a wound. This is a sorrow. And it's always there. It's like Taurus is always hidden in the back of this person's mind. Why didn't I put in effort? Why did I let Taurus slip away? Why didn't I? Okay, hang on. Let's go. Universe, what's the message just for Taurus during this retrograde? Page of Cups. It might be time for some truth. uh, maybe a heart-to-heart conversation. If this is what stays on Taurus's mind, then sometimes that indicates maybe I do want to talk to somebody about the thing that stays on my mind. Ace of Pentacles is upright. Talking and seeing if there's another opportunity for a fresh start. If that's what Taurus's higher self really wants, then the universe is like, maybe that's what Taurus should do then. Have a conversation, have a dialogue with this person. Okay, hang on. Let's change decks and let's ask for them. Universe, what's the message for that king? Ooh, Four of Pentacles. Hang on. That Four of Pentacles. And here we've got this little dude being dangled by the bank. Knight of Pentacles. Look, if this person was actually being stingy, if they remember, they're sitting here kicking themselves saying, why did I not put effort in? I think about Taurus all the time. The universe is saying point blank, hey, maybe you shouldn't have at that time. If you can't give Taurus the right kind of attention because you're still embroiled in something else, then maybe it's for the best that things didn't progress, or you didn't gravitate toward Taurus at some point in time because you admittedly had other problems to deal with. So no matter if you care about Taurus or not, the reality of it is if you couldn't have put in more effort because you were otherwise tangled up, then maybe some things needed to change in your world before you can approach Taurus. Don't bring them your dirty laundry. We got the question mark of, is your mess cleaned up yet? That Ten of Swords. Can you clearly approach Taurus? See, I kind of think that this is one of those situations where everything was very murky and indecisive. And I'm wondering if Taurus is like, it's such a bummer though, that everything was so murky and indecisive. I wonder what actually happened, because I can kind of still feel them thinking about me. And it looks like this person actually really does have warm feelings for Taurus. But if they're staying away, I got to say the big message here is, and maybe this is what Taurus is kind of coming to the conclusion of, maybe even if I know that they still think about me, maybe there's a reason that they haven't approached me, because everything here says, maybe Taurus just wants to ask him point blank, hey, listen, did I get the wrong vibes from you? I'm confused, But on the other hand, the universe says to this possible Virgo person or possible fire sign person, there's a very valid reason that you needed to slow your roll with Taurus, because you can't bring them your dirty laundry. So have you actually cleaned up the things that you needed to in order to be able to approach Taurus? See, if they're still at a place where, no, I'm still in the midst of, like recouping what I've lost, ending a connection properly, getting back on my own feet, moving out of a house that I shared with my previous partner, it may be like, I can't approach Taurus with honor for a while yet. And maybe, I don't know, is this something that they should go ahead and tell Taurus? If Taurus asks them point blank, hey, I just couldn't help but wonder what did happen. I wondered what the truth of it was. I kind of think they need to, Three of Cups, they need to come totally clean, lay all their cards on the table and actually say, Taurus, I want to pursue things, but I can't for a bit yet, because I admittedly still have things that I'm tidying up in my own life. I owe a bunch of money, which means my life is not quite my own yet. Until that is completely done, I'm at a deficit. So it's going to be another couple months or something. That's why I'm staying away, because I'm not trying to create a third party scenario here or something that would appear that way. That's not what my intentions are. It does say that they needed to say the truth of their situation to Taurus, and they, coming back around during this retrograde, it might be a really good time to say, it's a sign of respect that I'm not trying to approach you when I know I still have some things that I'm tidying up in my own life. It does feel like this is a great time for that dialogue, that conversation, because it would clear the air and possibly like clear up the question mark. Let me just ask, is that conversation coming, or is it only coming if like Taurus broaches it? Or see, the awakening is here, which is the we see somebody like releasing someone, but this is the Judgment card. look, one way or the other, it says this is a good time to let things go and say, look, if this comes back around and it's awesome, terrific. But as far as reconciliation, it's weird because like I release the idea of reconciliation. I release this, but it could be because if these two have a conversation, it's like, oh, okay, well, great. You do what you got to do. Maybe I'll catch you later if things work out. It just feels like, and I don't even know if this is really the message for Taurus. Taurus might be the one just releasing things no matter what. And even if it's like, I wish that I could have a conversation, I wonder if Taurus's higher self says, I kind of have had the conversation. If this person's not approaching me and I sense that they really wanted to, then there must be some reason that they can't. And if they're still ending things that they need to end, then I let you go while you go do that. If I hear from you again, a new dawn, a new day, sometime later, all right, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I kind of think that the big message here is whether there's a verbal conversation or not. And I'm kind of thinking not, because of what we saw when we were pulling from the Santa Muerte deck. I just don't know that I think that they're going to be dealing with Taurus right now. I think that they are just saying, I've got to tidy up things in my own life, and it's going to be another possibly 3 months before I have things really organized in my own life. And maybe the best thing for Taurus to do right now is to just say, you know what? I'm not going to carry sorrow or disappointment. Who knows what the future holds, but I am going to release kind of what I can see as the writing on the wall, which is this person has something else, some other obligation that they must release. So I release them while they deal with what they have to. And if I see them again later, we'll cross that bridge then. I kind of think that's what the message here is for Taurus. No, the one thing that I really liked about this is a sign of respect that they're not trying to come toward Taurus when they really would only bring some dirty laundry. So I think that that part's kind of nice. But it would be better if there were no, question marks. But this kind of says through that High Priestess card, Taurus already knows. Taurus, especially Taurus coming out as themselves in that first card. For this fictional story, it looks like Taurus already knows there's a reason this person isn't in my life right now. And I can totally be okay with releasing them. And if they approach me at some point in time and everything is, smooth and uncomplicated, I'll deal with them. But I don't think that there's any disappointment or hurt in this, or even an intention of being sly, deceptive, or hurtful. I will say that about this. Maybe it hasn't been handled the best, but on the other hand, this could be a situation where it's just like someone's made, some obviously, Taurus and this person know I'm interested in you, but there hasn't even been a formal conversation. So, this is like the whole thing is just put on ice for a little bit longer until this person can approach Taurus in a more straightforward manner. All right, I'm going to leave this here. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. Thanks for giving it a thumbs up.